Hi Eric, this is Sarah from Silver Tiger Media. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you. Well, you're coming out to Sydney and Perth Supernova very shortly, well, literally in a couple of weeks. Yeah, look, Brock and James from Pokemon, and in fact a number of Pokemon you voiced as well. Yu-Gi-Oh, of course, with Seto Kaiba. I mean, when you're cast in those kind of roles, could you have imagined the culture, the pop culture impact that these shows had on kids and obviously grown-ups now?
Not at all. Actually, every show I've ever auditioned for, when the producer or the director is saying, here's some characters we'd like you to read for, they always say the same thing. This is going to be the biggest show ever, or this is going to be amazing and so popular. And so as actors, we sort of just go, yeah, okay, fine. You take it with a grain of salt. But there was something about, with Pokemon, no, I had no idea. The machine that became, the pop culture machine, is fascinating to me. But then, as you dig a little deeper, you see here's a show with great morals, characters that you can relate to, friends that work together. I think that there's something a little wholesome about it, and that kind of works well with an audience of many ages. With Yu-Gi-Oh. Because I was brought into the company to actually direct YuGiOh when that show started, as well as play Seto Kaiba. And I sort of looked at that show. I made the joke that it reminded me of Pokemon 90210. It was the same sort of format of stories with morals and friends that work together, but it was for a slightly older audience that maybe had outgrown Pokemon a little bit. So I had a feeling that show would do well, but never to the degree that either one has become. You can ask a 6-year-old and a 60-year-old if they've ever heard of Pokemon, and of course they have. And it's pretty amazing and kind of humbling to have been involved in something like that.
And you also, even for a time, was a narrator for One Piece, which is also another huge, phenomenally successful anime as well. With that, again, when you came onto that one, I could imagine you probably wouldn't have thought that was as big as it turned out to be as well.
Yeah, that's a tricky show. I mean, I enjoyed that show a lot. I thought it was an odd one for us to take on because it being on Saturday morning cartoons in the States, we have very strict rules about what we can air in terms of violence and content, and controlled by the actual networks that tell us what to do. And that show has the original has a lot of violence in it, and we had to really cut out a lot of things, which I think took away from the storytelling. It's great to have been part of an incarnation of that series, but I think that show deserves to be on maybe more of a cable network than a network television Saturday morning slot. But yes, that's another show. I mean, I've worked on a version of Turtles and Sonic and all of these shows, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, this way the video games have taken over and animation has taken over in a lot of Hollywood. You would not think that being a voice actor would be considered being a celebrity,
Well, it most certainly is. And it's just as much an acting job as being an on-screen actor, for sure. And that's just it. I mean,
I agree.
We've recently had Detective Pikachu on, the big screen as well, which it's kind of interesting having watched Detective Pikachu. To me, it seems to have taken a lot from, Pokemon, the first movie, which is Mewtwo Strikes Back, which you were in as well. Yeah, it's interesting that in a way, it's kind of come full circle.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, there's sometimes we try to go too far, I think, with some of with marketing, and I'm not talking about this show in particular, but I think they did a good job with where it's going, and of course, games like Pokemon Go and things like that. But you run the risk of definitely saying like, let's slap that name on every product, and oh look, I'm having Pokemon breakfast cereal. Like, do we really need that? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it tastes good, but yeah, it is amazing. The longevity of a property like that. And I still meet fans that have just discovered the show, younger fans that have started to watch the series from the beginning, and that's just fun to me. I mean, I really did not expect that sort of longevity.
With being a voice actor, I mean, how does one try to work out how a particular character is going to sound? Like, is there a particular process that you go through when you're trying to figure it out?
So It really depends on the project. There's a lot of shows where if we are working where we're dubbing a show like a YuGiOh or Pokemon, and the character is already drawn, we get a chance to actually look at them, and they might say the original Japanese voice was sort of gruff and deep, but we don't want to go that way. We want to change it. Or they might say we want you to sort of imitate the same sort of sound that the original was. And then there's shows where the character isn't even drawn yet, where they say, here's an idea of what we're going after. What have you got? So, I definitely do a fair amount of different characters, but I also have starting points. I call them my bag of tricks. If someone says, okay, it's a young guy, I reach into my bag of tricks and I have a sort of a register that I start with, or an energy that I start with, and then it's like, well, maybe he's British. Okay, let's go that way. All right. Or maybe he's Southern. Let's go that way. And so they're all starting points. But I feel like there's definitely two types of the character stuff that I do, which there's the goofier things, and then there's the more legit things. I mean, Seto Kaiba is not that far away from my real voice, but his sarcasm and attitude are what makes that character interesting to me. His walking the line of being a rival and not a villain in that series, which is tricky. So if he had some sort of over-the-top character voice, I think that would have taken away from the content of who he was. So it really varies.
Yes. And speaking of Kaiba, have you actually ever attempted to play the Yu-Gi-Oh card game yourself?
Well, what I say to fans is, I don't play the game, but I can still beat you.
Very Kaiba thing to say.
I've done enough of I've directed enough of the shows and acted in them that I sort of can follow the rules to a degree. They do change a lot. The actual tournaments, they change the rules a lot. But and I've participated in being an MC at some of the live events. But I am a gamer geek. That is something that I do, but that's not really my style of gameplay. But I think it's really cool. I mean, and I love when we do the live duels at some of the events. They put all of the two guys in the middle are playing the game while we're acting out our live duel, and that's really fun. I mean, that's a blast. So I can't say that I know all of the rules, but I fake it really well.
Yeah, I gotta say, I can't keep up with all the rules, but I know apparently Pot of Greed is now an illegal card. So there you go.
There you go.
And it's not just voice acting. You've got quite a fair bit of music that you've done. You've even toured with Ringo Starr and his all-star band. You've also played with Peter Frampton. You've opened for Chicago, Lynyrd Skynyrd. Tell us a bit about your music career.
So that was actually that is. If you ask me who I was, that would be my answer. I'm a singer-songwriter first, and I got into voiceovers by getting a job in a recording studio because I thought that they produced a lot of music, and it turned out that they produced a lot of commercials, voiceover commercials. I've always tried to find work that lets me play my own music. So I got lucky it's a long time ago because I'm as old as dirt, but in '97, I submitted my stuff through my management company to Ringo, and he picked me to tour with him, and that started all of the madness. I had a great opportunity to tour with the All-Star Band and Frampton, and of course Peter produced my album and took me under his wings as a mentor, and I learned a lot. I did a lot of touring. I learned a lot from being on the road, and now I live in Nashville, and I play with my band here. I do a lot of performing and songwriting nights, but I love music. I love entertaining. I love storytelling, and it's just another part of the same instrument. I mean, if you sing, then you understand inflection in speech because inflection is pitch. So being a voice actor kind of made sense to me as someone who could sing, and a lot of voice actors, can sing. But yeah, I play all original rock, pop, with a little bit of folk in there. We've released, I think now 10 albums so far. So yeah, it's great. It's a great combination. And one of the fun things that I do when I make these appearances at the conventions is if they have music within the convention, I perform for the fans there. And if not, I perform off premises in like local venues, because I want to show fans that we can be artists with multifaceted artists. I mean, I draw, I sing, and I write, and I voice act, and I direct. So maybe it gives the young people that are interested in these types of careers sort of a vision of, hey, I don't have to just do one thing. There's so many things going on. Maybe I can do some of that, or I could follow that path. And interesting enough, Dan Green, who's my co-star in YuGiOh, he and I are developing our own animated series right now that stars a lot of the Pokemon and YuGiOh original voice actors, and it's called Crossing the Gods. And it's just another thing of showing that Dan Green can draw. I think it helps the younger people seeing that if you work hard at something, there might be a place for your talents. So it's just another thing that I do.
That's fantastic. I very much am on board for that, and I look forward to hearing about more of that and seeing more about that. And we'll just quickly wrap it up with one last question, in which case, since we're talking about
Sure.
cons, do you have any messages for your fans that you're going to see over at Sydney and Perth at Supanova?
Well, first of all, I love my Australian fans. I mean, I love going there. I love the people that run Supanova. I love the fans there. Dan and I are really excited because, Kaiba and Yugi don't always get along, so you never know what's going to happen when the two of us get together. But, come see us, get your autographs with us, take photos with us. We can't wait to see them. And, remember, we have to fly a long way to get to you, so just be gentle and bring me coffee and everything will be good.
And some Tim Tams, I think, wouldn't hurt either, hey?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Eric. We look forward to seeing you at Sydney and Perth. I'm sure you'll have a great time with us here with the fans.
Great. Thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate it. Have a great one.
Thank you.